What's up guys, XHOUNDISHx here, and today I wanted to go over a few news things and little bits of speculation that are going around in the community right now, because there's some pretty interesting stuff. So firstly, a few people have been talking about the recent This Week of Bungie blog post, specifically how it kept referring to the colour green. It does appear numerous times in the post, and of course this has a lot of people speculating at what this could be symbolic of. Could it just be an indicator that things are happening, or at least about to happen? Some people think it could hint to another SRL event or something similar. To me, it really symbolises the green lighting which Bungie refer to when talking about preparing and releasing the next patch. That is just my opinion though. It could potentially hint towards something further down the road, and this is something which I've heard a few people talk about, but perhaps this could link to the Lysander and Concordats faction, which we learned a little bit more about during the Dawning. Also remember, in the Dawning we had the Fortunes, and there were a lot of hints towards this faction and the destruction of the city potentially, as well as stuff which people are anticipating is Destiny 2 related. And Lysander's lore is very interesting, seeing as he was exiled from the city, but seems to have held some position in the old tower now known as Bannerfall. And some of what we've seen in recent lore additions has suggested a possible return and revolt against the city. So this is interesting because of course the symbolic colour to this faction is green. You do see their icons inside of Bannerfall. The Lysander Sparrow itself is green. It's interesting that we had these snippets of information in the recent live events. Perhaps there'll be something which we'll see in Destiny 2. Maybe the next live event in the game will centre more heavily around this with a view to kind of pilot the beginning of the sequel to Destiny, or it could just be something that we'll have to wait a longer time before we learn anything else about. Either way, really interesting stuff, and I'm certain we will learn more in the future. Up next, I wanted to talk to you guys about some recent leaks, and I say that with inverted commas, of the new Vault of Glass armor. Now firstly, let's take a look at this stuff. We have a set of armor for all classes which is in the database for the game, and it's based on the Vault of Glass gear. We have the face guard of Kabar, Kabar's defending grasps, Kabar's might and greaves, and then we have a full Heathen Lord set for the Warlock and a Mantic Zealot set for the Hunter. If we look closely, they are the Vault of Glass armor sets, but with this blue tint on them, and these things are really cool looking, but a lot of players and some YouTubers are describing them as new gear which has recently been found, and I can assure you guys that this is not the case. These particular pieces were actually found originally during the beta period of the game, possibly before the final Vault of Glass armor itself was even found, so they are essentially old versions of the gear which were never obtainable but were in the database. Stats and max level values aren't displayed in the database for these pieces because they were removed from the database at some point during or after the Taken King, which is why they have the Ascend node on them, because they underwent the legendary overhaul since they were in the database until that point. So while they are really cool and could well be used to create newer assets in future, these are not actually new and don't necessarily have any significance because they've appeared again now. Perhaps they were original armor pieces or scrapped versions of hard mode versus normal mode armor like we see now in the game. I would personally love to have access to these things either way. Finally, I want to share with you guys a pretty cool list of unreleased items which Vengeful Ark posted to Destiny subreddit. So there's a ton of emblems, shaders and ships, as well as the Vault of Glass armor we just looked at, which have never been made available in the game. Some of this stuff could indeed be used at some point in the future. Equally, a lot of it was never used for various activities, and you'll kind of see those links as you look through it. So I will link this post in the description below so you guys can kind of have a look at your own leisure, but there's a few cool standout ones to have a look at. So first we have Sunset City, which is pretty cool. It's like a kind of Malibu or Miami Beach style tower emblem right there. Maybe something we'll get at the end of Destiny. That would be pretty cool. Another interesting one is this one, the Glory of the Elite, which has the crests used in the Vanguard Elite bounties from the Dawning. Perhaps it was supposed to drop as a reward at some point, but it got missed out. There's another one called Scholar's Quest, which is really cool. And this one, which is simply called Raid Emblem, which was clearly going to be used as a Crota emblem. Maybe it was supposed to be for the hard mode or something like that, but if we ever get the revamp of that raid, we should absolutely get a hold of this thing because it looks pretty cool. There's another raid emblem called the Sight of the Battleborn, which with the kind of triangular lines makes me think Vault of Glass, or maybe it was just going to be kind of complete a raid emblem or something like that. There are a couple of what look like Vault of Glass shaders. One of them is the Husk of the Heathenborn right here, which is pretty cool. Another shader, the Eye, which looks kind of like a Trials of Osiris shader. And then there are a ton of ships as well, which are really interesting. If you go through and kind of look at the flavor text for each of these items, if you can, it's really cool because it kind of shows you what they were originally linked to, or, you know, potentially where they were intended to drop. So that's pretty awesome. There's a lot of Raid and Crucible lore on some of these ships, which is pretty cool. Like I said, if you guys want to have a look through, the links will be below in the description, but that about sums this video up, guys. I just wanted to break down a few things that people are talking about and share that information with you guys. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, a like below is super appreciated. Let me know down below any speculation you have about the next live event in Destiny, or whether indeed the old raids could be returning. If you're new to the channel, feel free to hit subscribe to keep up to date with Destiny content. Be sure to hit the notifications bell next to the subscribe button as well if you don't want to miss anything out. For now though, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Whatever you get up to, have an awesome day.